Good evening, everyone. Chris England, otherwise known as Asraf in Fae, and once again, I'm adding yet another movie to my set. This time, I'm going to be doing something a little bit newer, a new mythic hero. I've seen people do it already. I've seen people review it, analyze it, say what the best builds are, what the other things are, but now I want to cover the Japanese trailer. And we have the God of Openness. We have Askr, a mythic light defense unit that is colorless beast infantry, drawn once again beautifully, as is every single OC that we've had in Fae Yusuke Kozaki. And as an added bonus, we have the beautiful voice work of Takaya Kuroda. So starting from the lesser known roles, we have Abigail from Buddy Fight. We have Sullivan from Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. We have from Fate Grand Order Ivan the Terrible, as well as Fergus. He did take over the role of Starscream for Cybertron with the passing of the original actor, but the most well-known voice role that Mr. Kuroda has is Kazuma Kiryu from the Ryuga Gotoku series. So, let's go through. And oddly enough, I look at his kit, I see two skills. One of those skills makes me feel like I am not welcome. But let's go ahead and start anyways. First of all, we have Bonfire and Attack Defense Ideal. For a new transferable skill, we have Attack Defense Bulwark. This is essentially the non-warp portion of the detailed report we saw on Gatekeeper. Units with range 1 cannot pass through one space next to the space adjacent to the unit, and range 2 cannot pass by the two spaces away from the unit. In addition, he's also going to give -4 to both attack and defense during battle, and then after battle, he gains 7 HP. Then his C skill is Open Domain, which offers a interesting skill set. At the start of turn, if there is a ally that has a differing world set, so anything that's not a original character from Fae, he gives himself and any of those units Resonance Blade and Resonance Shield. Now these skills have only showed up on heroes that are harmonics, so units that have two worlds separate from each other. I look at these two skills and I question the idea of the God of Openness being rather closed and, once again, rather closed. Now, that could just be me. It could be the rest of some more of the fan base. I don't personally know. But for his weapon, we have the Illuminating Horn. Cooldown count -1. It's also possible that I keep forgetting something, but for the C skill, in addition to the Resonance Blades and Resonance Shield, those units, if their cooldown count is at maximum, they get a cooldown of -1. So helpful to every other world except his own. And then onto the Horn once again, cooldown count -1. If he initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, he gets Spectrum +5 during combat, a guaranteed follow-up, and then his damage output and the damage he receives from opponents is reduced by 20% of his own defense. And as for an adult beast, he transforms at the start of turn if he's either surrounded by only dragon or other beasts, or has no unit adjacent to him. If he is transformed, he gains +2 attack, damage during specials, get an additional 7 damage output, and then during battle, he nullifies any effects that the foe might have that would mess with the cooldown count rate. So any kind of breath effects are nullified. Any kind of tier 3 stance effects Those are gone as well. So we have cooldown count -1, an effect that's very similar to Spring Maria's. We also have the adult transformation, which includes the tempo effect. We have a stat buff, which the bonus is easy. And I would say for his kit in general, keeping his HP at full is also pretty easy with the 7 recovery from his B skill. The B skill is a very odd theming choice, but in terms of usage, very, very good. And then his C skill also adds an additional set of bonuses to fuel that ideal. Now, do I think that the naming of the skills could have been different? Possibly for the B, not for the C. For the C one, I would have said that there should be something that allows his own world to get these bonuses, but that is for me, maybe some other fans of this character who question that, and no one else.
開いてみせよう。
And in addition to opening with him, the other 11 heroes are Peony, Legendary Celica, Plumeria, Legendary Dimitri, Saros, Ashera, Oder, Ascendant Merida, Legendary Nana, Arthur from Genealogy, and Medius. Now, in terms of pulls, in addition to having colorless is always going to be very good. We have Askr, we have Medius, and then we also have Ashera, who probably needs a refine, but is still a very good unit just because she can pile on her buffs. For the blue color, you gain Peony in the story, so easy merge. You have two units that offer good damage reduction. So blue is also a good color. Red, I would say, I do believe that in general these are very good colors altogether. The only one that I would have a hard time questioning the pull rates for pulling on is green. Green and red are both the only pools that have units from the normal pool, which is not something that we like to see on legendary banners. In this case, it is Ascendant Merida and Arthur. The only difference between these two is that by pulling Merida, you get a unit that has a very good set of skills. You have the Vital Astra as well as Spurn to transfer over to a new unit. Arthur does have some other stuff, but unfortunately, his Menace skill does not have a unit that has that threaten 2 at a 4-star ranking. So he is obviously not a full-on dud, he does need work. And then Celica is one of the oldest units of this book. Therefore, she is the only unit that requires some actual work in order to make her better. Now, she will be getting refined soon, as we did get Legendary Alms pretty recently. But in terms of the dud pull rate, duds, I'd say that Celica and Ashera are the two main ones. The big ones that you really want to pull are Askr, Medius, Legendary Nana, and then I believe Legendary Dimitri and Otur do have some very valuable skills to transfer over. Peony is a good one for merges, and then Plumeria is another dancer. In addition, Saros has a lot of good fodder as well, including some of the exclusive fodder for dragons. Now, would I say that necessarily this is a banner that I wanted to pull on? There were certain things that I wanted to pull on, but that's about it. And then you know the rest of the movie in general. You have the Fey Pass, the Spark locked behind a Fey Pass, as well as the Celestial Stone. Do I like the character design for Askr? Yes, I do. Do I think that he would have benefited from being his kit being more, well, open? Possibly. I can't say for certain. I can say that he is a very big nightmare for the field because he combines what Spring Maria does in total, but makes himself a little bit bigger because he guarantees his follow up. He's got similar defenses, but he's also not a flyer, so he's not weak to certain aspects of effective against flyers, unless you're including the pastel poleaxe. Do I think that he could benefit from having a distant counter? It is a very big possibility. I think if I was going to do something like that, instead I would probably give him distant ward, as his skill set allows him to reduce damage based on his defense, and he has a very high score of 43, with a super boon making him 47. And even as a Bane, he still has 40 defense. So that is a very good amount of reduction in total. Because I believe even at 40 reduction, he is still reducing the damage by 8. Yes. Reducing it by 8, adding 8. It adds a little bit more if you're going higher, but it is a very good reduction. And adding some more resistance to his relatively lowish resistance, it's not super high, not super low, could definitely help. And it would also help deal with the pesky mages that might annoy him more. Do I think that it's a good idea to switch out? It's a possibility. It's definitely an open possibility. But that is it for me on this one. I will be doing the next one later, but thank you for listening. Okay.